I know not, O Athenians, how far you have been influenced by my accusers. For my part, in listening to them, I almost forgot myself, so plausible were their arguments. However, so to speak, they have said nothing true. But of the many falsehoods which they have uttered, I wondered at one of them especially, that in which they said you ought to be on your guard, lest you should be deceived by me, as being eloquent in speech. For that they are not ashamed of being forthwith, convicted by me, in fact, when I shall show that I am not by any means eloquent. This seemed to me the most shameless thing in them, unless indeed they call him eloquent who speaks the truth. For if they mean this, then I would allow that I am an orator, but not after their fashion. For they, as I affirm, have said nothing true. But from me you shall hear the whole truth. Not indeed Athenians' arguments highly wrought, as theirs were, with choice phrases and expressions, nor adorned. But you shall hear a speech uttered without premeditation, in such words as first present themselves. For I am confident that what I say will be just, and let none of you expect otherwise. For surely it would not become my time of life to come before you like a youth with a got-up speech. Above all things, therefore, I beg and implore this of you, O Athenians. If you hear me defending myself in the same language as that in which I am accustomed to speak, both in the forum and the counters, where many of you have heard me, and elsewhere, not to be surprised or disturbed on this account. For the case is this: I now, for the first time, come before a court of justice, though more than 70 years old. I am, therefore, utterly a stranger to the language here. As then, if I were really a stranger, you would have pardoned me if I spoke in the language and the manner in which I had been educated. So now I ask this of you as an act of justice, as it appears to me, to disregard the manner of my speech. For perhaps it may be somewhat worse, and perhaps better, and to consider this only, and to give your attention to this, whether I speak what is just or not. For this is the virtue of a judge, but of an orator to speak the truth. Perhaps, however, someone may say, "Are you not ashamed, Socrates, to have pursued a study from which you are now in danger of dying?" To such a person I should answer with good reason, "You do not say well, friend, if you think that a man, who is even of the least value, ought to take into the account the risk of life or death, and ought not to consider that alone when he performs any action, whether he is acting justly or unjustly."